Hey guys, weekend energy update. And as I've been saying all week, I do feel like this week, specifically this weekend and moving forward through the rest of the summer now, we have reached a point in time where vibes are probably going to shift quite palpably. There's been a very prominent Martian masculine energy influence throughout the past several weeks, with Mars and Jupiter, the planetary force of expansion, having been in a conjunction together. And now Venus actually is going to begin to become the more prominent vibe, sort of taking center stage as we hit this week, this weekend, and move through the rest of the summer, which is also interesting because Venus and Mars have been in a square as well. So there's been this dynamic and this interplay sort of going on over the course of the past week as this masculine Martian energy was sort of dying down, and we have the strengthening feminine Venus energy that is coming into play right now. Venus has been making so many aspects, trying to Uranus, opposition to Neptune, trying to Pluto. She entered her sign of Libra yesterday. That's bringing a vibe shift as well, and strengthening this Libra Venus energy even more. And we also right now, and this is quite significant, and I feel like is going to be coloring a lot of the things we see playing out in our experience this weekend and heading through the next couple of weeks. There's a black moon south node of the moon conjunction exactly happening right now in the sign of Libra, and Venus is headed right towards exact alignment with that alignment as well. Now, this is a release point, okay? Major changes happening in relationships, love and money, connections and investments, attachments. A lot of the shadow side issues or the more toxic nature of people is honestly likely to be surfacing right now, but there's a true like healing, integration, and transmutation that is available for us right now as well. We do have an opportunity to level up in the way that we are relating to ourselves and to others actually at this point in time and moving forward, but it's probably going to bring about some very strange and perhaps disturbing stuff in the context of relationship dynamics and other people as we move throughout the course of the next couple of weeks. So we've got a lot to talk about this weekend. Of course, this activation is aligning exactly between the South Node and the Black Moon. We'll talk about that and a whole bunch more. Let's get into our report of the day. Let's put it all together and see what things might look like for us as we move through our weekend and head towards next week. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Friday, August 30th, 2024. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the weekend, where we are narrating the shifts of the ages. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the astrology that we have going on this weekend, how it might be impacting our experiences, and also actually, because of some of the activations that are coming into play this weekend, how energy now is likely to be rippling out through the next several weeks. The Virgo cycle, and perhaps also even into the new moon and Libra cycle that will come up after that. As I said in my intro, there is a transition going on energetically from sort of like a more dominant, prominent focus and highlight being on the Martian energy, as it has been through much of the summer, with Jupiter, the planet of expansion, the planet that supersizes energy, having been in a conjunction with Mars, and then of course also the square to Saturn. We've been talking so much about that. We are finally now shifting out of that energy. These squares are separating. The conjunction between Mars and Jupiter is also separating, and now we're sort of like shifting gears, shifting focus, and like zoning in on the Venus energy, which I do think, because we're going into a Virgo cycle that is going to have some very prominent focal point Venus energy, and then followed by that Venus's Libra cycle herself. Some of the things that we see go on this weekend, actually this weekend moving forward, you know, through this first couple weeks of the month of September, are likely to also carry themselves forward into the Libra cycle, as, like I said, like that is the cycle that is ruled by Venus. So what's happening with Venus now and her prominence now could be also affecting what goes on in her cycle. Okay, so just to sort of like orient yourself in terms of where the energetic influence is likely to be throughout the next couple of weeks, I feel like that's what we're looking at. A dominant vibe that is sort of making other people and the Venus energy and characteristics and archetypes and how they represent themselves in various areas of our lives, what is sort of taking center stage and standing out. And we're going to talk about all of that stuff as we move through this video. And I also want to say, like, The reason why I feel like there's such a prominence on the Venus energy, and especially in the context of the way that, like, I'm going to be talking about it and what I think is going to be the more common experience in regards to the emphasis on the Venus energy. I'm saying this because there are like repeating patterns. Like, there are multiple indications and aspects that are all explaining the very same premises, okay? We're not just looking at like one example of this, like there's a lot of them. And again, I'm going to talk about all of those as we move through this video, and I'll be talking about them probably over and over and over and over again throughout the next several videos. I mean, the new moon in September, the new moon in Virgo that's coming up, is full of this same energy as well. So this is not a fleeting energy. This is the start of it. It's going to lead to some major changes in relationships. I was talking about also like the Mercury retrograde actually that we are coming out of right now probably played quite significantly into a lot of these relationship changes that are on the precipice of happening right now as well. But I will tell you, major transformations in preferences, desires, attractions, and what we want to associate ourselves with and what we want to be essentially like defined by in the context of relationships moving forward. A lot of things that we've been attached to, enmeshed with, maybe even addicted to, just have been like a part of us somehow, are going to be coming to an end, especially in the context of other people, and the groups of people I feel like that we are associating ourselves with are going to radically change, perhaps maybe in ways that we wouldn't expect over a kind of a short period of time, just this next couple of weeks. So it'll be real interesting to see, but there is sort of like a reshuffling that's going on in terms of interpersonal communications. And actually this is, and again, this is something that is being spoken about more than one time. We've got like repeating patterns of energy coming through here, but a very deeply healing and regenerative energy is sort of accompanying everything that goes on right now. And although, you know, there's a lot of loss and a lot of endings that could play themselves out alongside these activations as they come into play, the outcome is going to be something restorative, actually, something that like restores the peace, the balance, and the harmony within us, something that unblocks like our processes to growth, something that allows us actually to feel a greater sense of like inner peace and inner wholeness and stuff like that. So there may be some, you know, shadows, okay, that we really need to navigate and deal with over this next couple of weeks, again, especially in the context of other people, but also in the context of our relationship to ourselves as well. But the ultimate outcome will be a much, much greater, you know, internalized sense of balance that makes us actually much stronger, much more powerful, much more creative. And going forward, it's like the things that we do try to build and create and manifest are going to happen easier, and they're going to just be better all the way around. We're going to be able to grow things a lot easier and a lot better, and we're just going to be feeling and coming at things, I think, from a greater sense of wholeness based on the changes that are making their way into our lives now. Okay, so as we start talking about this energy, realize where it's ultimately going, even if it sounds like, you know, this may not be the most fun journey that we're on. Remember, a lot of like the activations that I'm going to be talking about now are brought to us by the south node of the moon. That's karma, okay? That's the release point. That's the end. That's the tail of the dragon. The exact polarity point to that is the north node of the moon, which is the destiny point, okay? If you guys have been following my channel for a while, since last summer when the north node entered Aries and the south node entered Libra, I've been talking about how cosmically we are all being called on some level to embrace like a new leadership era, like in our own lives, and to rediscover ourselves and to redefine ourselves in alignment with a greater connection to our own authentic truth and purpose and like higher mission and higher calling, and be willing to sort of like just, you know, Aries, like seize the day and go on an independent quest to our own, like, essentially hero's journey. Chiron's been transiting the sign of Aries as well. We had a Chiron North Node conjunction as a very defining feature of this transit. Like, we're being re-empowered to rediscover ourselves and find like our true purpose. Okay. And the flip side of that is having to release ourselves from anyone or anything or any idea, being, you know, Libra being an air sign energy as well, that essentially has blocked us from this path of personal growth that we are being cosmically mandated to go on a quest to align ourselves with at this point in time. And this is where that South Node energy, that release that is required in order to go on that hero's journey, or to embrace this new version of ourselves, or to, you know, do whatever the North Node in Aries is calling us to like achieve or go after in our lives right now. This is when we essentially like slay the demons that would prevent us from doing that. And so there's that. And the South Node, right, this is endings in the sign of Libra. This is relationships. Venus has entered her sign of Libra. We have the Black Moon in the sign of Libra. We are heading for a Venus Black Moon South Node in the sign of Libra conjunction. There is a level of karmic distortion in the feminine energy field collectively that is going to be like released from the planet at this point in time. And this is like big, this is significant. You know, I've been talking about sort of these themes in some of my videos over this past couple of months, because this is a major energetic push right now, and it's actually like a very significant feature of our greater transition into the age of Aquarius. Because whenever there's a distortion in a feminine energy field, like things can't grow properly, because the feminine energy, this is the fertile and creative force and the nurturing force that leads to proper and authentic and organic growth and development. When that very fundamental energy itself is inverted and distorted, nothing that comes from it is going to be able to grow organically and into its full potential. So for as long as we've been operating in an energetic field where there has been an ongoing inversion or distortion in that feminine energy field, nothing like that, all organic growth processes have been unable to come to their like true potential in some capacity or another. And that is what is being rectified right now as we move into the age of Aquarius, the age essentially of cosmic realignment, of self-actualization, that is going to define the next 2,000 years as we are moving into the age of Aquarius. So as actually a function of our transition into that new energy, this is how it's sort of hitting, and the adjustments that are being made right now. And basically what I do think is going on is that an activation that is occurring now, and also, you know, it's not just this activation, it also has to do with the Uranian transit through the sign of Taurus. It's been going, it's a 7-year process, but this is where I think we are really like, that transit is nearing its completion, and now we have this going on in Venus's other sign. Like, I feel like this is when we're really going to see the impact of this recalibration to the Venusian energy that has been working itself out over the past, really since like 2018, 2019. But I do think that, you know, this point in time and these activations that are coming into play Friday and moving us through this weekend will release us from some quality of toxic or distorted feminine energy or attachment that is actually going to change our lives and change who we are fundamentally as people moving forward. This next several days or weeks even is probably going to surface issues that have been blocking our true peace or creativity or beauty or abundance or ability to give and receive love somehow. It will expose also repressed, dark, ugly aspects of ourselves or of our relationship to others that maybe we've been unaware of, or that we've been hiding from, or that we've been like sort of too afraid to face also for one reason or another. Black Moon being activated. The Black Moon is our fears, our worries, our insecurities, our doubts. The South Node, this can be loss. Sign of Libra, this is like a fear of like not being perfect in the context of not being able to fit in, or like being like socially rejected, or being cast out, or like being like not seen as worthy or not seen as valuable to be loved. It's issues relating to that and fears associated with that. And as a result of that, those very things are likely to be triggered deeply with a lot of people that do have especially unhealed wounds and unhealed traumas and stuff around those issues, and have had, you know, as a result, subconscious programming go on that really triggers them to act and behave and perhaps some very like obsessive or possessive or toxic ways in the context of relationship dynamics. Like, this is a step we're talking about that is being triggered and that is likely to be repressed, or that is likely to be exposed. A lot of this is likely to have been very repressed. And again, this could be going on within us as well. One thing we know for certain, this is about helping us to gain an awareness of these issues and absolutely to let them go. And even more so, actually, not just to like let them go in a way where there's like a hole or a void within us or like something unresolved, but more so actually to be able to like heal from, regenerate, integrate, transmute, alchemize, and like overcome some of this stuff, so like we never have to deal with it again. Like, this is a karmic ending, this is a karmic release. We also know it, again, you know how I was talking about repeating patterns. Not only is it the south node, black moon, Venus stuff, as Venus enters the sign of Libra, as she makes her entrance into her sign right now, one of the aspects that she's making is an exact trine to Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius and Libra. That's highly transformative. That's indicating a majorly transformative Venus transit through Libra in the context of the way that we are thinking about what we want, our values, our ideals. Also, with Venus also opposite Neptune, the things and the people that have disappointed us in the past, what we've learned from it, how it's shifting, what we're attracted to, what we will and will not give of ourselves in order to receive something external validation, material possessions, money. Like, this is a whole recalibration of the entire way that that Venus energy and everything that it represents is functioning within us. And it's literally like the karmic ending. Like, this could be like generationally like ending patterns of addiction or toxic relationship, codependent relationship dynamics and stuff like that. So everything along these lines could be coming up. Fears of rejection and being exposed, as I said, secrets revealed, cast out, likely to be triggering the dark side of a lot of people as well. A lot of people are going to be projecting this out. And again, like, there's just probably going to be people having real strange, weird behavior going on as a result of this in relationships. A lot of it is, as I keep saying, going to be like long repressed or karmic or hidden, or stuff that we like literally didn't even know what was going on inside of us, but then like our own higher nature is actually coming through right now and ready to like cast it out, release us from it, help us transmute it. And as a result, maybe that's why it's so prominent and we're like gaining such a strong awareness of it. It really honestly does feel like some type of collective like exorcism that's going on here, as we are spontaneously, a lot of people spontaneously are going to be like releasing and banishing aspects of this toxic or distorted feminine energy that has been maybe repressed, or we have been holding on to, or that we are gaining an awareness of right now. And aligning with also, and then re-embracing the authentic nature of our heart. That's the flip side of this. It would be so much like less meaningful, I feel like, and powerful and positive if it was just a black moon south node conjunction that we're looking at in the sign of Libra. But the fact that Venus is going to be exactly in alignment with them as well, and also for a new moon cycle that leads then into her new moon cycle, like, yeah, it's sort of like this exorcism, but after the distortion is removed, I'm telling you, like, there's going to be a massive renewal, a reintegration. Like, the dark and the light qualities of the divine feminine energy are going to like start flowing properly, as opposed to in like inverted and distorted directions. And as a result of that, again, like, the sense of wholeness and inner peace and feeling like we know ourselves again, and like being more stable and like who we are and what our mission and purpose is, and like what we want and what we are and are not willing to sacrifice in terms of like dimensions of ourselves anymore. This whole give and take thing, right? we're not going to be willing to betray our true nature and our heart and ourselves to the same level for like external stuff that perhaps we were in the past. And again, remember, Uranus transiting through the sign of Taurus right now is also removing blockages to growth. Nothing can grow in the distorted feminine energy field. We are losing it on the Libra side of things. We're losing it on the Taurus side of things. Ultimately, this activation point recalibrating feminine energy frequencies associated with the path of growth and evolution that is being that we're being called into right now as this cosmic blueprint unfolds and transitions us into the age of Aquarius. As I mentioned a minute ago, this is like a fundamental code activation part of the process in the greater transition that is underway, moving us from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. Now, that dark feminine energy, that shadow side feminine energy, that distorted feminine energy, in the process of helping us to gain the awareness of it and go through the process of the integration and essentially the rectification of it, is likely to be on a greater than normal display as we move through this period of time. Like I said, the release point will follow, and there will be a trend away from this expression and utilization of the feminine energy. And actually, I think that there's going to be like a restoration of admiration and attraction to the true beauty and power and creativity and strength and love of integrated, balanced, upright feminine energy when it's functioning properly. However, in order to get there, we may just have to navigate sometimes, or some days, or some moments, or some incidents where people are just really showing out in maybe some really like ugly or disturbing ways, or just like, lying, cheating, stealing, manipulating. We also have both Venus and Mars right now in harsh aspect to Neptune. Venus is making tons of aspects. I talked about this in my videos really all week. Venus has been making so many aspects. That's another reason why, it's another like pattern repetition why she's such a prominent force right now. We've got a trine to Uranus, and that's another thing. We've got a trine with Venus to Pluto and a trine with Venus to Uranus. Uranus in Venus's sign, like Pluto, of course, is very regenerative, transformative, powerful force. At the 0 degrees of the air signs, that's our mind and our ideas and our thoughts about things. And then the earth signs, we had Venus in Virgo trining Uranus in Taurus. That's where that trine came from, because Uranus is at the end of Taurus. So this was a late degree Virgo trine by Venus before she entered Libra and hit the air sign trine. You guys know all that. But that also is another like sudden like awakening, like, big changes, sudden awakening, like I want something new, I need something different, like I'm not attracted to the same things that I used to be. So it's sort of being hit from just every angle with this energy that is trying to clear up, clean out, adjust the flow of, and essentially like facilitate the feminine energy to come back online in a very strong, prominent, powerful, and balanced way, which will have the necessary side effect of actually making a lot of things go better going forward, because the seeds that we plant essentially, and like what we try to do and the changes that we try to make, like, and the relationships that come into our lives, everything is going to be much more supportive of proper growth and things going in the right direction, because we're not going to be operating out of the same level of feminine distortion, and it's going to make a big difference energetically. But again, I was saying, in order to get there, we may have to really see the dark side of things to have like the switch or the flip. You know what I mean? So don't be surprised also if there's just a major emphasis on women or female issues during this time. So many of the Sabian symbols today, which I'll talk about at the end, also are like verbatimly describing feminine energy or women doing things. So it's really everywhere. And like I said, in terms of the emphasis perhaps on women or women's issues, the darker side of female and feminine stuff is likely to be prominent here coming up as well. This can also bring up things to do with abusive or toxic attachments, relationships, addictions, the interchange between money, possession, possession, things of value and feminine energy. Not just about women though, because when we talk about feminine energy, you know, a lot of times that does bring women into it, but everybody, I mean, we've all got feminine and masculine energy within us. We've all got a Venus and Mars placement. You know, we all have this. Feminine energy is basically what we want. It's our ability to receive and surrender. It's what we value. It's what we're attracted to. It's how we relate to others and ourselves. It's our tastes and our preferences and our image and like our role in the group, where we fit into the group. It's our beauty standards, what we're attracted to and what we find pleasant and pleasing and comfortable. And this energy is going to trigger this release from things that we've been attached to or addicted to that are not benefiting our growth. Maybe we've been comfortable in them, but they are essentially at this point like suffocating our ability to continue to move forth, and universe is just not standing for that right now. It's mostly going to be having to do with other people and ideas about ourselves and others with this air sign Libra energy coming through, and people essentially are going to have to make the choice. You know, the scales are being weighed. Growth on one hand and literally like death on the other. Now, I don't mean, you know, literal death or in that context, but in terms of the spirit and the life force energy, universe essentially is mandating right now, you guys, that we all go through a process of personal growth and evolution back into an alignment with our authentic potential and purpose. And if we are not surrendering to that process right now, things are probably going to get real difficult. The only way to evolve and to go forward right now is to let go of the past, to surrender to the changes. There is no going back, but the future is also full of this like unlimited potential for growth right now, unlimited opportunities, honestly, like miracles and things that we never would have thought could happen for us right around the corner. It's literally just having to go through the fear of letting go of what we've known or what we're comfortable with. The choice to go through with it is likely to be scary and trigger these fears. We know that because the black moon is there. Having to face the fear of being alone, having to face the fear of being cast out or rejected, or our image being tarnished in some type of a way, being seen for perhaps who we really are and the impact that that has on maybe the old world we were a part of. However, we need to be seen for who we really are, because the new world that we are creating right now is coming, you know, it is coming to support us in that process of growth. The true beauty of Venus being there, as you know, I've been mentioning and sort of weaving into this whole thing, is it's not just a release, but it's a reintegration. It's a transmutation. We can actually alchemize on some very profound levels right now, and the endings and the fears associated with them are actually going to, on, you know, in really important ways, restore balance, harmony, peace, and creative potential within us, which is also happening with Uranus transiting through the sign of Taurus. And I do feel like after we sort of go through this black moon Libra transit and we have this activation, we come out the other side, I do think we're going to be actually feeling much better, much more stable internally, and able to embrace what we've gained through the endings and what we had to release as this particular window period of time, you know, came into play, and the previous natures of our own selves that had defined us in the past but are no longer a reflection of the person that we are becoming and growing into now. This is insanely karmically healing, and it's going to impact growth and fertility and relationship dynamics and our ability to grow as a person generally, and to grow things in our lives, to build, to produce, to create. Art, beauty, money, harmony, peace, abundance in noticeable ways will begin to be restored for us somehow after we move through this, if we are, you know, embracing the changes that are coming now. This is also going to restore true value, and as I said, like, life generally is going to begin to grow better as we, and there's going to be a restoration of true value to things as we move through 2025 into 2026. this recalibrated divine feminine energy, collective energy body is going to make a big impact in the way that things unfold, microcosm, macrocosm, moving into the future. And as I said, I do think that we're going to begin to feel a lot more stable, a lot more whole, a lot more balanced as we do go through this process, face these fears, release what needs to be released, and actually find ourselves having been restored on some level that makes us feel like we are more powerful, we are more creative, and we have a better idea of who we really are and what we really want. This is also restoring true value to all things generally, and again, removing distortions to the feminine energy. Things are going to begin to grow better, essentially, like across the board right now. Very, very karmically healing, and it's going to impact fertility, relationship dynamics, our ability to grow, build, produce, create, even like art, beauty, money, and harmony and peace itself, abundance, like in noticeable ways. I think a lot of people, as we move through this energetic activation window, are going to find themselves being able to just get what they want easier, because they also are going to have a better idea of what they want, and our lives are going to begin magnetizing and attracting based on this, like our new relationship to ourselves. And so what comes to us is going to be much more aligned with like what we really need and want and desire, as opposed to like a replication of a facade or a cultural expectation or something that we've been conditioned to believe that we want, or that we need to be, or that we need to portray for some reason related to some type of social context or acceptance or rejection, or like all these Libra themes. Okay, so definitely like our ability to use our feminine energy is going to be improved, I think, moving forward. And it's funny because the degree, the Sabian symbol degree, where this activation right now between the black moon and the south node comes exact on Friday, it's the Sabian symbol of 7 degrees of Libra. And that Sabian symbol is a woman feeding chickens and protecting them from hawks. And I love this symbolism coming through in the context of this aspect, because it is describing like the dual nature of the feminine functioning in a synthesized and integrated manner to like perform a necessary function that is benefiting the whole of the life of the individual that is engaging in this simultaneous process. One woman, she's both feeding the chickens and she's protecting them from the hawk. She's being the nurturer side of the feminine, and she's also being like the fierce defender, protector side of the feminine. Both are working together, both are harmonized, they're both being manifested through this one woman, right? The feminine principle, and portraying a balanced expression of the divine feminine energy working in an integrated manner in that one symbol. So, and it's also talking about birds, which is the air element, which is the sign of Libra where this is happening. So I feel like that is another indication right there that that is what is happening. There is a reintegration of the feminine energy principles going on right now in a way that is removing distortions from the greater collective feminine energy body, and it is going to lead to a greater ability to both nurture and protect life force generally as it's seeking to reach its potential through its manifesting expression. So some powerful stuff right there. And it's not only that, let's talk about more repeating patterns right now in terms of this exact energetic signature. Of course, we're talking about black moon, south node, Libra with Venus. That is a powerful energetic release from maybe like toxic karmic patterns and attachments that have been stealing our power and detaching us from our own true nature. We've also got, as I said, the Venus-Pluto trine, which is very transformative and indicating, you know, a lot of things along those lines. We've got that symbol coming into play that is talking about the integration of the feminine principles functioning together for purpose aligned with authentic growth in coming through in one woman, the feminine quality. We also, as this energy is coming into play on Friday, have the moon at 0 degrees of the sign of Leo in an opposition to Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, a 0-degree opposition. The moon, right? Mother Moon, this is also the feminine principle in the polar opposition with Pluto, this very transformative force. It's another repetition of this same pattern, the feminine principle up against the shadows, the lord of the underworld, the subconscious mind. There could be some, again, powerful fears or desires or feelings or obsessions that are driving some perhaps desperate or ugly or toxic or just generally dark stuff, maybe of a more feminine nature, or, you know, sides of people that are surfacing this weekend. I was saying in one of my other videos this week, if people have a dark side, you guys, if they got some demons in there, they're probably not going to be able to hide while we have this South Node, Black Moon, Venus, Libra activation going on. And as we move through the weekend, the moon, of course, is going to be transiting the sign of Leo most of the weekend. This could turn into some very dramatic displays, performative or attention-seeking behavior. As I mentioned previously, I mentioned in my last video, and we're going to be talking about a lot more in the energy of next week. Mars is also in a 3-degree orb square with Neptune right now. Venus is also opposite Neptune. This is now out of sign, but Neptune is at 29 Pisces. Venus is at the very first couple of degrees of Libra, so we still have an opposition going on there. We need to be careful. And then the Black Moon in the sign of Libra with the South Node being activated. We have got to be careful with our dealings with others this week. Things are generally not what they appear to be, especially in the context of other people. This is not people being honest. This is tons of potential for lying, cheating, stealing, manipulating, like coercion, blackmail, like all of that type of stuff. Very prominent. Do not put yourself in a position to potentially be compromised by anything or anyone this week. You know, stay true to your values. Don't do anything that to try to like get possession or take control or ownership over somebody. Like, be very careful with what you say and how you act and what you believe and what you agree to and what you commit to and what you invest in. This is just not people. This is like devious action, manipulation going on. Like with the Neptune energy also, this could be really much like fantasy faking and future faking and stuff like that as well. So be real careful getting tied into some type of temptation or some type of like seduction. That's another thing. Like, this is a very powerfully seductive energy that we could have going on right now, for better or for worse. So just something to be aware of as well. But I will say, this really is an excellent time for getting to know ourselves on a deeper level and reconsidering how we are using our resources, specifically our mind and our love and our money and our creative energy. The flip side of the South Node being in the sign of Libra is what? Is the North Node in the sign of Aries. The North Node in Aries is also being activated by this, and that is calling us forth to reinvent ourselves, to rediscover ourselves, to redefine ourselves, and our own personal power, to step into our own personal power as a side effect of the reunion. Actually, also talking about the Libra energy, there is a disillusionment going on in the context of other people, but also a re-embrace of the relationship with ourselves, which is why also I've been kind of saying, you know, yeah, there might be fears of being alone that are being triggered right now. We really might have to go our own way. We really might have to sort of like separate ourselves from the pack. We really might have to kind of go on some type of solitary or like more isolated journey right now. But there is going to be a tremendous personal growth that happens as a result of that process, in the form of like really coming back into greater union with ourselves. And then once we go through that, the new relationships, the new connections, the new partnerships, like the new Venus quality that is functioning in our lives coming forward in that upright integrated manner, the relationships are going to be so much better. Everything we do is going to be so much more fulfilling. Again, we're going to feel so much more peaceful and harmonious internally, and therefore everything that we do is going to be, you know, more beautiful, and everything that is going to, it's going to, like, the things that we give life to in our lives, no matter how that manifests, are going to be better and stronger and more beautiful and more fulfilling as well. So, you know, we can choose to be afraid of it. You know, we can choose to look at it as a bad thing, or we can just like see it as a necessary part of our process of growth and embrace the cocoon phase, because that's sort of what this is if we're using the butterfly metamorphosis metaphor in the context of the personal transformations that we are going on right now, which we could, you know, that's a very good metaphor for what is happening to us individually and collectively, as we are going through a greater transition of ages right now, and we are sort of the cosmic butterfly collectively as a planet right now as well. So, you know, like how they always say, like that concept of like you really are kind of like a mashup of the top 5 people that you spend the most time with. I think over the course of this next several weeks, like that top 5 people is going to be changing for probably like the majority of people, at least to some extent. And, you know, it's going to reflect these personal changes that are going on within us as well. But like I said, this new top 5 is going to support our growth, support our creative potential and creative process right now. They're going to complement the person that we're becoming. They're not going to hold us back, and they're going to stabilize and harmonize our lives and not like trigger insecurities and inadequacies that just like perpetually keep us off balance and unable to properly create and properly manifest in alignment with our higher potential that universe is requiring that we move towards right now. So probably going to be a real strange but like highly revealing time in the context of other people and our own personal issues, I would imagine. Like I said, we have so many Sabian symbols that are featuring women. On Friday, the degree of the sun, a girl receives her first dancing instructions. The earth is a girl blowing a bugle. The Mars is at 27 Gemini, a gypsy emerging from the forest. We have Uranus right now, who has been describing this process as well, at 28 Taurus, a woman pursued by mature romance. We have Chiron at 23 Aries, a woman in pastel colors carrying a heavy and valuable but veiled load. Of course, the alignment between the Black Moon and the South Node, a woman feeding chickens and protecting them from hawks. And then we also, interestingly enough, the position of the North Node opposite the South Node. This is not about a woman, but it is still talking about this like integration process. It is a man successfully expressing himself in 2 realms at once. And then finally, the position of Venus herself, the light of the 6th race transmuted to the 7th. So we've got lots and lots of symbolism talking specifically about feminine energy itself being represented here, plus also integration in the context of the North Node, where we're going, and transmutation, transcendence, spoken of by the position of Venus herself, the light of the 6th race transmuted to the 7th. So it's an upgrade, you guys. This is part of our personal process of upgrade that is apparently required when you're transitioning ages, and you are going to be anchors for a new paradigm that is emerging. So we're letting go of a lot of karmic cycles coming in here, and we are surrendering and embracing the changes now with the understanding and the faith that they're actually leading us to a much more solid, stable, fulfilling, and meaningful, valuable experience moving forward. So that's what I have to say for this weekend, you guys. Lots of astrology going on out there, lots of Venus stuff going on out there. Of course, you know, both Taurus and Libra. So everything to do with Venus, both the way she manifests in the Taurus energy, food, resources, assets. This is very financial as well. I do think that we could see a lot of big financial changes coming to things having to do with, you know, market economy, like the monetary value and stuff like that. We could see things go on with crypto. it's just, you can't isolate the financial element of things or take it out of what we're talking about whenever strong Venus energy is coming to play. This could also have to do with like legal stuff and balance, justice, peace. There could be a real lack of peace right now as well, like war type stuff could get pretty ugly. But again, it's like, I do feel like after we move through this, it's going to be like a tipping point and things are going to start going back the other direction, and there's going to be a yearning for, a reverence for, an admiration of, just like a desire to restore the like true authentic nature of the feminine energy. And so that's what I'm going to say, you guys. I'm going to get us a synchronicity card now and then stop talking. God, Spirit, Universe, what's one final piece of advice or guidance or information? What do we need to know? What will benefit us to keep in mind as we do go through this energy this weekend? What is something that we should just remember and maybe tell ourselves as we navigate some of these issues? And again, like, most people don't know that this is going on, right? Most people are just like sort of living through all these changes and not totally clued in on why everything is sort of like changing so drastically and radically right now. But yeah, it's probably just going to be strange times, which we're kind of used to and accustomed to right now. We are heading into a period of hyper novelty, and this is just another aspect of this. Okay, our message says keep the faith, you guys. Keep the faith. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Psalms 23:1. God is within you and watching over you. You will see evidence of this fact in your life very soon if you cannot see it this very second. Go forward with confidence. Everything is working together for your good right now. So we just need to keep that in mind, regardless of how things may appear on the surface. Be real careful, again, you know, dealing with people, committing to things, investing in things. Keep the faith. We've got interesting times that we're moving towards. So there it is, you guys. Update for the weekend. I hope you liked it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. You guys, share it with your friends if you think that they would enjoy this type of astrology content as well. Leave me comments. I'm so grateful for your presence here. If you guys are having experiences that line up with what I'm talking about in these videos, please let me know in my comment section below. If you want to know what's on this whiteboard, I have a Facebook group where I post images of my boards in my description box below. That's where you'll find a link to that. And come back with me on Monday, you guys. We're going to be getting right into it. We're gonna actually, what is Monday? We're gonna have, it might be my new moon video on Monday, because I think the new moon's on the 3rd, so that might be the next video out. But either way, we have this Venus South Node Black Moon conjunction, which I just feel like energetically is probably going to be a bit of a big deal. So we're going to get back into that. We've got more to talk about. I'll be here to talk about it. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. I will see you next time. Have a really beautiful weekend, everybody. And until then, bye guys.